Alright, guys, I felt very positive about the last filming that was about me. I told you guys before I'm a narcissist. I just am. All I think about is myself. And I just be photographing my own memories. Ooh, on this day I looked real good. Y'all remember Junior Warriors Camp? Yeah, I looked good then too. Me, me, me. Me, me, me. There's me again. Yay! I vote for Olivia every year. Yay! There I am again. Oh, yeah. There I am again. Well, okay, whatever. There's some really good ones in there. Oh, I love that one. Oh. Oh, there's Saudi. He thought he was so much cuter than me. I had to shut his ass down like 2 years ago. They always turn into stalkers after you like kick them off your social media. Very strange. Anyhow, I'm sorry. I'm not a Zendaya fan, so I'm not going to go into that tonight. Anyway, we are going to do my favorite thing in the world because this is a day, and really not just a day. Fuck a day. This is a year about what Olivia likes, and y'all know I love Harry Potter. So I bought this last year, and I just never had the time to actually crack it open. Y'all know, more than anything, I love Slytherin. Let's go to chapter 8. Page 155. We'll read it. Hopefully you guys have all, this is the Sorcerer's Stone. This is like the first book. We could start at chapter 1, but it's not good then. Like, at least by chapter 8, good shit starts happening, Alright, here we go. Chapter 8. The Potions Master. Okay. There! Look! Where? Next to the tall kid with the red hair. Wearing the glasses? Did you see his face? Did you see his scar? Whispers followed Harry from the moment he left his dormitory the next day. People lining up outside classrooms stood on tiptoe to get a look at him, or doubled back to pass him in the corridors, again staring. Harry wished they wouldn't, because he was trying to concentrate on finding his way to classes. There were 142 staircases at Hogwarts, wide sweeping ones, narrow rickety ones, some that led somewhere different on a Friday, some with vanishing steep, some with a vanishing steep halfway up that you had to remember to jump. Then there were doors that wouldn't open unless you politely or tickled them exactly the right place. And doors that weren't really doors at all, but solid walls just pretending. It was also very hard to remember where anything was because it all seemed to move around a lot. The people in the portraits kept going to visit each other, and Harry was sure the coats of armor could walk. The ghosts didn't help either. It was always a nasty shock when one of them glided suddenly through the door you were trying to open. Nearly Headless Nick was always happy to point out new Gryffindors in the right direction, but the Peeves and the Poltergeist was worth 2 locked doors and a trick staircase if you met him when you were late for class. He would drop waste paper baskets on your head, pull rugs from under your feet, pelt you with bits of chalk, or sneak up behind you, invisible, grab your nose, and screech, "Gotcha, conk!" Even worse than Peeves, if that was possible, was the caretaker Argus Filch. Harry and Ron managed to get on the wrong side of him on their very first morning. Filch found them trying to force their way through a door that unluckily turned out to be the entrance to the out-of-bounds corridor on the third floor. He wouldn't believe they were lost, was sure they were trying to break in on purpose, and it was threatening to lock them in the dungeons when they were rescued by Professor Quirrell, who was passing. Filch owned a cat called Mrs. Norris, a scrawny, dust-colored creature with bulging lamp-like eyes, just like Filch's. She patrolled the corridors alone. Break a rule in front of her, put just one toe out of line, and she'd whisk off for Filch, who'd appear wheezing 2 seconds later. Filch knew the secret passageways of the old school better than anyone, except perhaps the Weasley twins, and would pop up as suddenly as any of the ghosts. The students all hated him, and it was the dearest ambition of many to give Miss Norris a good kick. And then, once you'd managed to find them, there were the classes themselves. There was a lot more to magic, as Harry quickly found out, than waving your wand and saying a few funny words. They had to study the skies through their telescopes every Wednesday at midnight and learn the names of different stars and the movements of the planets. 3 times a week, they went out into the greenhouse beside the castle to study herbology with a dumpy little witch called Professor Sprout, where they learned how to take care of all the strange plants and fungi and found out what they were used for. Easily the most boring class was the history of magic, which was the only one taught by a ghost. Professor Binns had been very old indeed when she had fallen asleep in front of the staff room fire, and got up the next morning to teach, leaving his body behind him. Binns drove on and on while they scribbled down the names and dates and got Emmerich the evil and Ulrich the oddball mixed up. Here we go. Yes. Professor Flitwick, the charms teacher, was a tiny little wizard who had to stand on a pile of books to see over his desk. At the start of their first class, he took the roll call, and when he reached Harry's name, he gave an excited squeak and toppled out of sight. Professor McGonagall was again different. Harry had been quite right to think she wasn't a teacher to cross. Strict and clever, she gave them a talking to the moment they sat down in front of her first class. Transfiguration is some of the most complex and dangerous magic you will learn at Hogwarts, she said. Anyone messing around in any class will leave and not come back. You have been warned. Then she changed her desk into a pig and back again. They were all very impressed and couldn't wait to get started, but soon realized they weren't going to be changing the furniture into animals for a very long time. After taking a lot of complicated notes, they were each given a match and started trying to turn it into a needle. By the end of the lesson, only Hermione Granger had made any difference to her match. Professor McGonagall showed the class how it had gone, all silver and pointy, and gave Hermione a rare smile. Now, that was chapter 8. There are illustrations. There are other fun things in this book. Like in the beginning, I thought this was very cool. Actually don't know what it is. What is it? Is it a clock? I actually don't know what this is, but it is really cool. Okay, so you open it like this. You can turn it. Maybe we'll start this little segment for any of the other nerds out there who actually appreciate academia, the love of learning, and the interesting characters you can always find on campus. Maybe, just maybe, I will start making skits about my own interactions, which they're very funny actually. The very funny interactions that I've had with academics over the year. How I got kicked off of Twitter earlier last year. It wasn't early, it was in June. And the very funny the clubhouse rooms that I've joined with some of the VCs in the Valley. We could also make fun of James and his small penis if you like, if anyone is interested in hearing that content. You know I'm good for it. All right.